Henry Roman Faw, Pot I by William Shakespeare. Act I Scene I London. The Palace. So shaken as we are, so wan with care, find we a time for frighted peace to pant, and breathe shot-winded accents of new broils to be commenced in strands afar remote. No more the thirsty entrance of this soil shall daub her lips with her own children's blood. No more shall trenching war channel her fields, nor bruise her flowerets with the armed hoofs of hostile paces. Those opposed eyes, which, like the meteors of a troubled heaven, all of one nature, of one substance bred, did lately meet in the intestine shock and furious close of civil butchery, shall now, in mutual well-beseeming ranks, march all one way and be no more opposed against acquaintance, kindred and allies. The edge of war, like an ill-sheathed knife, no more shall cut his master. Therefore, friends, as far as to the sepulchre of Christ, whose soldier now, under whose blessed cross we are impressed and engaged to fight, forthwith a power of English shall we levy, whose arms were molded in their mother's womb to chase these pagans in those holy fields over whose acres walked those blessed feet which 1400 years ago were nailed for our advantage on the bitter cross. But this our purpose now is 12-month old, and bootless 'tis to tell you we will go. Therefore we meet not now. Then let me hear of you, my gentle cousin Westmoreland, what yesternight our council did decree in forwarding this dear expedience. My liege, this haste was hot in question, and many limits of the charge set down but yesternight, when all athwart there came a post from Wales loaden with heavy news, whose worst was, that the noble Mortimer, leading the men of Herefordshire to fight against the irregular and wild Glendower, was by the rude hands of that Welshman taken, 1,000 of his people butchered, upon whose dead corpse there was such misuse, such beastly shameless transformation, by those Welshwomen done, as may not be without much shame retold or spoken of. It seems then that the tidings of this broil break off our business for the Holy Land. This matched with other did, my gracious lord, for more uneven and unwelcome news came from the north, and thus it did impart. On Holyrood Day, the gallant Hotspur there, young Harry Percy and brave Archibald, that ever valiant and approved Scot at Homedon met, where they did spend a sad and bloody hour. As by discharge of their artillery, and shape of likelihood, the news was told. For he that brought them, in the very heat and pride of their contention did take hoss, uncertain of the issue any way. Here is a dear, a true industrious friend, Sir Walter Blunt, new lighted from his hoss, stained with the variation of each soil betwixt that Homedon and this seat of ours, and he hath brought us smooth and welcome news. The Earl of Douglas is discomfited. 10,000 bold Scots, 22 knights, balked in their own blood did Sir Walter see on Homedon's plains. Of prisoners, Hotspur took Modake the Earl of Fife and eldest son to Beaton Douglas, and the Earl of Athol, of Murray, Angus, and Menteith. And is not this an honourable spoil? A gallant prize? Ha, cousin, is it not? In faith, it is a conquest for a prince to boast of. Yea, there thou makest me sad and makest me sin in envy, that my Lord Northumberland should be the father to so blessed a son who is the theme of Honour's tongue. Amongst a grove, the very straightest plant, who is sweet Fortune's minion and her pride, whilst I, by looking on the praise of him, see riot and dishonour stain the brow of my young Harry. Oh, that it could be proved that some night-tripping fairy had exchanged in cradle clothes our children where they lay, and called mine Percy his Plantagenet. Then would I have his Harry and he mine, but let him from my thoughts. What think you cause of this young Percy's pride? The prisoners which he in this adventure hath surprised, to his own use he keeps, and sends me word, I shall have none but Modake Earl of Fife. This is his uncle's teaching. This is Worcester, malevolent to you in all aspects, which makes him prune himself, and bristle up the crest of youth against your dignity. But I have sent for him to answer this, and for this cause a while, we must neglect our holy purpose to Jerusalem. Cousin, on Wednesday next our council we will hold at Windsor, so inform the lords, but come yourself with speed to us again, for more is to be said and to be done than out of anger can be uttered. Scene Roman to London, an apartment of the princes. I know you all, and will a while uphold the unyoked humour of your idleness. Yet herein will I imitate the sun, who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that, when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at, by breaking through the foul and ugly mists of vapours that did seem to strangle him. If all the year were playing holidays, to spot would be as tedious as to work. But when they seldom come, they wished for come, and nothing pleaseth but rare accidents. So, when this loose behaviour I throw off and pay the debt I never promised, by how much better than my word I am, by so much shall I falsify men's hopes, and like bright metal on a sullen ground, my reformation, glittering on my fault, shall show more goodly and attract more eyes than that which hath no foil to set it off. I'll so offend to make offence a skill, redeeming time when men think least I will. Exit. Scene Roman 3 London. The Palace. My blood hath been too cold and temperate, unapt to stir at these indignities, and you have found me. For accordingly you tread upon my patience. But be sure I will from henceforth rather be myself, mighty and to be feared, than my condition, which hath been smooth as oil, soft as young down, and therefore lost that title of respect which the proud soul ne'er pays but to the proud. Our house, my sovereign liege, little deserves the scourge of greatness to be used on it, and that same greatness too which our own hands have holp to make so potly. Worcester, get thee gone, for I do see danger and disobedience in thine eye. O sir, your presence is too bold and peremptory, and majesty might never yet endure the moody frontier of a servant brow. You have good leave to leave us. When we need your use in council, we shall send for you. Exit Worcester. You were about to speak. To Northumberland. Yea, my good lord. Those prisoners in your highness' name demanded, which Harry Percy here at home done took, were, as he says, not with such strength denied as is delivered to your majesty. Either envy, therefore, or misprison is guilty of this fault, and not my son. My liege, I did deny no prisoners. But I remember, when the fight was done, when I was dry with rage and extreme toil, breathless and faint, leaning upon my sod, came there a certain lord, neat and trimly dressed, fresh as a bridegroom, and his chin new reaped showed like a stubble land at harvest home. He was perfumed like a milliner, and twixt his finger and his thumb he held a pouncet box, which ever and anon he gave his nose and took away again. Who therewith angry, when it next came there, took it in snuff. And still he smiled and talked, and as the soldiers bore dead bodies by, he called them untaught knaves, unmannerly, to bring a slovenly unhandsome cost betwixt the wind and his nobility. With many holiday and lady terms he questioned me, amongst the rest, demanded my prisoners in your majesty's behalf. I then, all smarting with my wounds being cold, to be so pested with a popinjay, out of my grief and my impatience, answered neglectingly I know not what, he should, or he should not. For he made me mad to see him shine so brisk and smell so sweet and talk so like a waiting gentlewoman of guns and drums and wounds. God save the mock. And telling me the sovereignest thing on earth was palmacetti for an inward bruise, and that it was great pity, so it was, this villainous saltpetre should be digged out of the bowels of the harmless earth, which many a good tall fellow had destroyed so cowardly. And but for these vile guns, he would himself have been a soldier. This bald unjointed chat of his, my lord, I answered indirectly, as I said, and I beseech you, let not his report come current for an accusation betwixt my love and your high majesty. The circumstance considered, good my lord, whate'er Lord Harry Percy then had said to such a person, and in such a place, at such a time, with all the rest retold, may reasonably die and never rise to do him wrong or any way impeach what then he said, so he unsay it now. Why, yet he doth deny his prisoners, but with proviso and exception, that we at our own charge shall ransom straight his brother-in-law, the foolish Mortimer, who, on my soul, hath wilfully betrayed the lives of those that he did lead to fight against that great magician, damned Glendower, whose daughter, as we hear, the Earl of March hath lately married. Shall our coffers, then, be emptied to redeem a traitor home? Shall we buy treason, and indent with fears when they have lost and forfeited themselves? No, on the barren mountains let him starve, for I shall never hold that man my friend whose tongue shall ask me for 1 penny cost to ransom home revolted Mortimer. Revolted Mortimer? He never did fall off, my sovereign liege, but by the chance of war. To prove that true needs no more but 1 tongue for all those wounds, those mouthed wounds, which valiantly he took, when on the gentle Severn's sedgy bank, in single opposition, hand to hand, he did confound the best part of an hour in changing hardiment with great Glendower. 3 times they breathed, and 3 times did they drink, upon agreement, of swift Severn's flood. Who then, affrighted with their bloody looks, ran fearfully among the trembling reeds, and hid his crisp head in the hollow bank blood-stained with these valiant combatants. Never did base and rotten policy colour her working with such deadly wounds, nor could the noble Mortimer receive so many, and all willingly. Then let not him be slandered with revolt. Thou dost belie him, Percy, thou dost belie him. He never did encounter with Glendower. I tell thee, he durst as well have met the devil alone as Owen Glendower for an enemy. Art thou not ashamed? But, sirrah, henceforth let me not hear you speak of Mortimer. Send me your prisoners with the speediest means, or you shall hear in such a kind from me as will displease you. My Lord Northumberland, we license your departure with your son. Send us your prisoners, or you will hear of it. Exeunt King Henry, blunt and train. And if the devil come and raw for them, I will not send them. I will after straight and tell him so, for I will ease my heart, albeit I make a hazard of my head. What, drunk with cola? Stay and pause a while. Here comes your uncle. Speak of Mortimer? Zounds, I will speak of him, and let my soul want mercy if I do not join with him. Yeah, on his pot I'll empty all these veins, and shed my dear blood drop by drop in the dust. But I will lift the downtrodden Mortimer as high in the air as this unthankful king, as this ingrate and cankered Bolingbroke. He will, forsooth, have all my prisoners, and when I urged the ransom once again of my wife's brother, then his cheek looked pale, and on my face he turned an eye of death, trembling even at the name of Mortimer. I cannot blame him. Was not he proclaimed by Richard that dead is the next of blood? He was, I heard the proclamation, and then it was when the unhappy king, whose wrongs in us God pardon, did set forth upon his Irish expedition, from whence he intercepted did return to be deposed and shortly murdered, and for whose death we in the world's wide mouth live scandalized and foully spoken of. But soft, I pray you, did King Richard then proclaim my brother Edmund Mortimer heir to the crown? Nay, then I cannot blame his cousin king, that wished him on the barren mountains starve. But shall it be that you, that set the crown upon the head of this forgetful man, and for his sake wear the detested blot of murderous subornation, shall it be, that you a world of curses undergo, being the agents, or base second means, the cauds, the ladder, or the hangman rather? Oh, pardon me that I descend so low, to show the line and the predicament wherein you range under this subtle king. Shall it for shame be spoken in these days, or fill up chronicles in time to come, that men of your nobility and power did gauge them both in an unjust behalf, as both of you, God pardon it, have done, to put down Richard, that sweet lovely rose, and plant this thorn, this canker, Bolingbroke? And shall it in more shame be further spoken that you are fooled, discarded and shook off by him for whom these shames ye underwent? No, yet time serves wherein you may redeem your banished honours and restore yourselves into the good thoughts of the world again, revenge the jeering and disdained contempt of this proud king, who studies day and night to answer all the debt he owes to you, even with the bloody payment of your deaths. Therefore, I say, peace, cousin, say no more. And now I will unclasp a secret book, and to your quick-conceiving discontents I'll read you matter deep and dangerous, as full of peril and adventurous spirit as to awe-walk a current roaring loud on the unsteadfast footing of a spear. If he fall in, good night, or sink or swim, send danger from the east unto the west, so on across it from the north to south, and let them grapple. Oh, the blood more stirs to rouse a lion than to start a hare. Imagination of some great exploit drives him beyond the bounds of patience. By heaven, methinks it were an easy leap to pluck bright honor from the pale-faced moon, or dive into the bottom of the deep, where fathom line could never touch the ground, and pluck up drowned honor by the locks. So he that doth redeem her thence might wear without corrival all her dignities, but out upon this half-faced fellowship. He apprehends a world of figures here, but not the form of what he should attend. Good cousin, give me audience for a while. Those same noble Scots that are your prisoners. I'll keep them all. By God, he shall not have a Scot of them. No, if a Scot would save his soul, he shall not. I'll keep them by this hand. You start away and lend no ear unto my purposes. Those prisoners you shall keep. Nay, I will, that's flat. He said he would not ransom Mortimer, forbade my tongue to speak of Mortimer, but I will find him when he lies asleep, and in his ear I'll holla Mortimer. Nay, I'll have a stalling shall be taught to speak nothing but Mortimer, and give it him to keep his anger still in motion. All studies here I solemnly defy, save how to gall and pinch this Bolingbroke, and that same sawed-end buckler Prince of Wales, but that I think his father loves him not, and would be glad he met with some mischance. I would have him poisoned with a pot of ale. Farewell, kinsman. I'll talk to you when you are better tempered to attend. Why, what a wasp-stung and impatient fool art thou to break into this woman's mood, tying thine ear to no tongue but thine own. Why, look you, I am whipped and scourged with rods, nettled and stung with pismires, when I hear of this vile politician, Bolingbroke. In Richard's time, what do you call the place? A plague upon it, it is in Gloucestershire. 'Twas where the madcap Duke his uncle kept his uncle York, where I first bowed my knee unto this king of smiles, this Bolingbroke, blood, when you and he came back from Ravensburg. You say true? Why, what a candy deal of courtesy this fawning greyhound then did proffer me. Look, when his infant fortune came to age, and gentle Harry Percy, and kind cousin, oh, the devil take such cozenas, God forgive me, good uncle, tell your tale I have done. Nay, if you have not to it again, we will stay your leisure. Then once more to your Scottish prisoners. Deliver them up without their ransom straight, and make the Douglas son your only mean for powers in Scotland, which, for divers reasons which I shall send you written, be assured, will easily be granted. You, my lord, to Northumberland. Your son in Scotland being thus employed, shall secretly into the bosom creep of that same noble prelate, well beloved, the Archbishop. True, who bears hard his brother's death at Bristol, the Lord Scroop. I speak not this in estimation, as what I think might be, but what I know is ruminated, plotted and set down, and only stays but to behold the face of that occasion that shall bring it on. Why, it cannot choose but be a noble plot. And then the power of Scotland and of York, to join with Mortimer, ha? And 'tis no little reason bids us speed, to save our heads by raising of a head. For bear ourselves as even as we can, the king will always think him in our debt, and think we think ourselves unsatisfied, till he hath found a time to pay us home. And see already how he doth begin to make us strangers to his looks of love. Cousin, farewell. No further go in this than I by letters shall direct your course. When time is ripe, which will be suddenly, I'll steal to Glendower and Lord Mortimer, where you and Douglas and our powers at once, as I will fashion it, shall happily meet, to bear our fortunes in our own strong arms, which now we hold at much uncertainty. Uncle, adieu. Oh, let the hours be shot, till fields and blows and groans applaud our spot. Exeunt. Henry Roman IV, Pot I by William Shakespeare. Uncopyright may you do good and not evil. May you find forgiveness for yourself and forgive others. May you share freely, never taking more than you give. Copyright pages exist to tell you that you can't do something. Unlike them, this uncopyright page exists to tell you that the writing and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the United States public domain. That is, they are believed to be free of copyright restrictions in the United States. The United States public domain represents our collective cultural heritage, and items in it are free for anyone in the United States to do almost anything at all with, without having to get permission. Copyright laws are different all over the world, and the source text or artwork in this ebook may still be copyrighted in other countries. If you're not located in the United States, you must check your local laws before using this ebook. Standard ebooks makes no representations regarding the copyright status of the source text or artwork in this ebook in any country other than the United States. Non-authorship activities performed on items that are in the public domain, so-called sweat of the brow, work, don't create a new copyright. That means that nobody can claim a new copyright on an item that is in the public domain for, among other things, work like digitization, mock-up, or typography. Regardless, the contributors to this ebook release their contributions under the terms in the CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain dedication, thus dedicating to the worldwide public domain all of the work they've done on this ebook, including but not limited to metadata, the title page, imprint, colophon, this uncopyright, and any changes or enhancements to, or mock-up on, the original text and artwork. This dedication doesn't change the copyright status of the source text or artwork. We make this dedication in the interest of enriching our global cultural heritage, to promote free and libre culture around the world, and to give back to the unrestricted culture that has given all of us so much. Table of Contents Landmarks, Act Roman 2 Sinai Rochester, and in Yard. Scene Roman 2 the highway near Gad's Hill, got with much ease, now merrily to hoss. The thieves are all scattered and possessed with fear so strongly that they dare not meet each other, each takes his fellow for an officer. Away, good Ned. Falstaff sweats to death and lauds the lean earth as he walks along. Were it not for laughing, I should pity him. Scene Roman 3 Walkworth Castle. Oh my good lord, why are you thus alone? For what offence have I this fortnight been a banished woman from my Harry's bed? Tell me, sweet lord, what is't that takes from thee thy stomach, pleasure and thy golden sleep? Why dost thou bend thine eyes upon the earth, and start so often when thou sitt'st alone? Why hast thou lost the fresh blood in thy cheeks, and given my treasures and my rights of thee to thick-eyed musing and cursed melancholy? In thy faint slumbers I by thee have watched, and heard thee murmur tales of iron wars, speak terms of manage to thy bounding steed, cry courage to the field. And thou hast talked of sallies and retires, of trenches, tents, of palisadoes, frontiers, parapets, of basilisks, of cannon, culverin, of prisoners' ransom, and of soldiers slain, and all the currents of a heady fight. Thy spirit within thee hath been so at war, and thus hath so bestirred thee in thy sleep, that beads of sweat have stood upon thy brow, like bubbles in a late disturbed stream, and in thy face strange motions have appeared, such as we see when men restrain their breath on some great sudden hest. Oh, what portents are these? Some heavy business hath my lord in hand, and I must know it, else he loves me not. That roan shall buy my throne. Well, I will back him straight. Oh, aspirants? Bid butler lead him forth into the park. Exit servant. Out, you mad-headed ape. A weasel hath not such a deal of spleen as you are tossed with. In faith, I'll know your business, Harry, that I will. I fear my brother Mortimer doth stir about his title, and hath sent for you to line his enterprise. But if you go, come, you parakeeto, answer me directly unto this question that I ask. In faith, I'll break thy little finger, Harry, and if thou wilt not tell me all things true. Away, you trifler? Love, I love thee not, I care not for thee. Kate, this is no world to play with mammoths and to tilt with lips. We must have bloody noses and cracked crowns, and pass them current too. God's me, my hoss, what sayst thou, Kate? What wouldst thou have with me? Do you not love me? Do you not indeed? Well, do not then, for since you love me not, I will not love myself. Do you not love me? Nay, tell me if you speak in jest or no. Come, wilt thou see me ride? And when I am o' horseback, I will swear I love thee infinitely. But hark you, Kate, I must not have you henceforth question me whither I go, nor reason whereabout. Whither I must, and to conclude, this evening must I leave you, gentle Kate. I know you wise, but yet no farther wise than Harry Percy's wife. Constant you are, but yet a woman, and for secrecy, no lady closer. For I well believe thou wilt not utter what thou dost not know, and so far will I trust thee, gentle Kate, not an inch further. But hark you, Kate, whither I go, thither shall you go too. Today will I set forth, tomorrow you. Will this content you, Kate? Seen Roman for the Boar's Head Tavern, Eastcheap. For God's sake, lauds, convey my tristful queen, for tears do stop the floodgates of her eyes. First, pardon me, my lord. A hue and cry hath followed certain men unto this house. One of them is well known, my gracious lord, a gross fat man. The man, I do assure you, is not here, for I myself at this time have employed him. And, sheriff, I will engage my word to thee that I will, by tomorrow dinner time, send him to answer thee, or any man, for anything he shall be charged withal, and so let me entreat you leave the house. I will, my lord. There are 2 gentlemen have in this robbery lost 300 marks. It may be so. If he have robbed these men, he shall be answerable, and so farewell. Reads, Act Roman 3 Sinai Banga, the Archdeacon's house. These promises are fair, the parties sure, and our induction full of prosperous hope. Lord Mortimer and Cousin Glendower, will you sit down? And Uncle Worcester, a plague upon it, I have forgot the map. No, here it is. Sit, Cousin Percy, sit, good Cousin Hotspur, for by that name as oft as Lancaster doth speak of you, his cheek looks pale, and with a rising sigh he wisheth you in heaven. I cannot blame him. At my nativity, the front of heaven was full of fiery shapes, of burning cressets, and at my birth the frame and huge foundation of the earth shaked like a coward. And I say the earth was not of my mind, if you suppose as fearing you it shook. Oh, then the earth shook to see the heavens on fire, and not in fear of your nativity. Diseased nature oftentimes breaks forth in strange eruptions. Oft the teeming earth is with a kind of colic pinched and vexed by the imprisoning of unruly wind within her womb, which, for enlargement striving, shakes the old beldam earth and topples down steeples and moss-grown towers. At your birth our grandam earth, having this distemperature, in passion shook. Cousin, of many men I do not bear these crossings. Give me leave to tell you once again that at my birth the front of heaven was full of fiery shapes, the goats ran from the mountains, and the herds were strangely clamorous to the frighted fields. These signs have mocked me extraordinary, and all the causes of my life do show I am not in the roll of common men. Where is he living? Clipped in with the sea that chides the banks of England, Scotland, Wales, which calls me pupil, or hath read to me? And bring him out that is but woman's son can trace me in the tedious ways of art and hold me pace in deep experiments. Why, so can I, or so can any man. But will they come when you do call for them? Why, I can teach you, cousin, to command the devil. And I can teach thee, cuz, to shame the devil by telling truth. Tell truth and shame the devil. If thou have power to raise him, bring him hither, and I'll be sworn I have power to shame him hence. Oh, while you live, tell truth and shame the devil. 3 times hath Henry Bolingbroke made head against my power. Thrice from the banks of Wye and sandy-bottomed Severn have I sent him bootless home and weather-beaten back. Home without boots and in foul weather too? How scapes he agues in the devil's name? Come, here's the map. Shall we divide our right according to our threefold order ton? The Archdeacon hath divided it into 3 limits very equally. England, from Trent and Severn hitherto, by south and east is to my pot assigned. All westward, Wales beyond the Severn Shaw, and all the fertile land within that bound, to Owen Glendower. And, dear coz, to you the remnant northward, lying off from Trent. And our indentures tripartite are drawn, which being sealed interchangeably, a business that this night may execute tomorrow, cousin Percy, you and I and my good Lord of Worcester will set forth to meet your father and the Scottish power, as is appointed us, at Shrewsbury. My father Glendower is not ready yet, not shall we need his help these 14 days. Within that space you may have drawn together your tenants, friends, and neighbouring gentlemen. A shorter time shall send me to you, lords, and in my conduct shall your ladies come, from whom you now must steal and take no leave, for there will be a world of water shed upon the potting of your wives and you. Methinks my moiety, north from Burton here, in quantity equals not one of yours. See how this river comes me cranking in, and cuts me from the best of all my land a huge half-moon, a monstrous cantle out. I'll have the current in this place dammed up, and here the smug and silver Trent shall run in a new channel, fair and evenly. It shall not wind with such a deep indent, to rob me of so rich a bottom here. Yeah, but mark how he bears his costs, and runs me up with like advantage on the other side, gelding the opposed continent as much as on the other side it takes from you. Yeah, but a little charge will trench him here, and on this north side win this cape of land, and then he runs straight and even. I can speak English, Lord, as well as you, for I was trained up in the English cot, where, being but young, I framed to the harp many an English ditty lovely well, and gave the tongue a helpful ornament, a virtue that was never seen in you. Marry, and I am glad of it with all my heart. I had rather be a kitten and cry mew than one of these same meter balladmongers. I had rather hear a brazen candlestick turned, or a dry wheel grate on the axle-tree, and that would set my teeth nothing on edge, nothing so much as mincing poetry. 'Tis like the fast gait of a shuffling nag. I do not care. I'll give thrice so much land to any well-deserving friend, but in the way of bargain, mock ye me, I'll cavil on the 9th part of a hair. Are the indentures drawn? Shall we be gone? The moon shines fair, you may away by night. I'll haste the writer, and withal break with your wives of your departure hence. I am afraid my daughter will run mad, so much she doteth on her Mortimer. Exit. I cannot choose. Sometime he angers me with telling me of the moldwop and the aunt, of the dreamer Merlin and his prophecies, and of a dragon and a finless fish, a clip-winged griffin and a molten raven, a couching lion and a ramping cat, and such a deal of skimble-scamble stuff as puts me from my faith. I tell you what, he held me last night at least 9 hours in reckoning up the several devils' names that were his lackeys. I cried, and well, go to, but mocked him not a word. Oh, he is as tedious as a tired hoss, a railing wife, worse than a smoky house. I had rather live with cheese and garlic in a windmill, than feed on cates and have him talk to me in any summer house in Christendom. In faith, he is a worthy gentleman, exceedingly well read, and profited in strange concealments, valiant as a lion and as wondrous affable and as bountiful as mines of India. Shall I tell you, cousin? He holds your temper in a high respect and curbs himself even of his natural scope when you come cross his humour. Faith, he does. I warrant you, that man is not alive might so have tempted him as you have done, without the taste of danger and reproof. But do not use it oft, let me entreat you. In faith, my lord, you are too wilful blame, and since your coming hither have done enough to put him quite beside his patience. You must needs learn, lord, to amend this fault, though sometimes it show greatness, courage, blood, and that's the dearest grace it renders you. Yet oftentimes it doth present harsh rage, defect of manners, want of government, pride, haughtiness, opinion and disdain, the least of which haunting a nobleman loseth men's hearts and leaves behind a stain upon the beauty of all parts besides, beguiling them of commendation. Well, I am schooled. Good manners be your speed. Here come our wives, and let us take our leave. This is the deadly spite that angers me. My wife can speak no English, I know Welsh. My daughter weeps. She will not part with you. She'll be a soldier too. She'll to the wars. Good father, tell her that she and my Aunt Percy shall follow in your conduct speedily. Glendower speaks to her in Welsh, and she answers him in the same. I understand thy looks. That pretty Welsh which thou pawest down from these swelling heavens I am too perfect in, and but for shame, in such a polly should I answer thee. The lady speaks again in Welsh. I understand thy kisses, and thou mine, and that's a feeling disputation, but I will never be a truant, love, till I have learned thy language, for thy tongue makes Welsh as sweet as dit is highly penned, sung by a fair queen in a summer's bower, with ravishing division, to her lute. She bids you on the wanton rushes lay you down, and rest your gentle head upon her lap, and she will sing the song that pleaseth you, and on your eyelids crown the god of sleep, charming your blood with pleasing heaviness, making such difference twixt wake and sleep, as is the difference betwixt day and night the hour before the heavenly harnessed team begins his golden progress in the east. With all my heart, I'll sit and hear her sing. By that time will our book, I think, be drawn do so, and those musicians that shall play to you hang in the air 1,000 leagues from hence, and straight they shall be here, sit and attend. Now I perceive the devil understands Welsh, and 'tis no marvel he is so humorous. By a lady, he is a good musician. Not yours in good sooth? Hot, you swear like a comfit-maker's wife. Not you in good sooth, and as true as I live, and as God shall mend me, and as sure as day, and givest such saucenet surety for thy oaths as if thou never walk'st further than Finsbury. Swear me, Kate, like a lady as thou art, a good mouth-filling oath, and leave in sooth, and such protest of pepper gingerbread to velvet gods and Sunday citizens. Come, sing, come, Lord Mortimer, you are as slow as hot Lord Percy is on fire to go. By this our book is drawn, we'll but seal, and then to hoss immediately. Scene room into London, the palace. Lords, give us leave, the Prince of Wales and I must have some private conference, but be near at hand, for we shall presently have need of you. Exeunt lords. I know not whether God will have it so, for some displeasing service I have done, that, in his secret doom, out of my blood he'll breed revengement and a scourge for me. But thou dost in thy passages of life make me believe that thou art only mocked for the hot vengeance and the rod of heaven to punish my misstreadings. Tell me else, could such inordinate and low desires, such poor, such bare, such lewd, such mean attempts, such barren pleasures, rude society, as thou art matched withal and grafted to, accompany the greatness of thy blood, and hold their level with thy princely heart? So please your majesty, I would I could quit all offences with as clear excuse as well as I am doubtless, I can purge myself of many I am charged withal. Yet such extenuation let me beg, as, in reproof of many tales devised, which oft the ear of greatness needs must hear, by smiling pickthanks and base newsmongers, I may, for some things true, wherein my youth hath faulty wandered and irregular, find pardon on my true submission. God pardon thee, yet let me wonder, Harry, at thy affections, which do hold a wing quite from the flight of all thy ancestors. Thy place in council thou hast rudely lost, which by thy younger brother is supplied, and art almost an alien to the hearts of all the court and princes of my blood. The hope and expectation of thy time is ruined, and the soul of every man prophetically doth forethink thy fall. Had I so lavish of my presence been, so common hackneyed in the eyes of men, so stale and cheap to vulgar company, opinion, that did help me to the crown, had still kept loyal to possession and left me in reputeless banishment, a fellow of no mock nor likelihood. By being seldom seen, I could not stir but like a comet I was wondered at, that men would tell their children, this is he. Others would say, where, which is Bolingbroke. And then I stole all courtesy from heaven, and dressed myself in such humility that I did pluck allegiance from men's hearts, loud shouts and salutations from their mouths, even in the presence of the crowned king. Thus did I keep my person fresh and new, my presence, like a robe pontifical, ne'er seen but wondered at. And so my state, seldom but sumptuous, showed like a feast and won by rareness such solemnity. The skipping king, he ambled up and down with shallow jesters and rash bavin wits, soon kindled and soon burnt, courted his state, mingled his royalty with capering fools, had his great name profaned with their scones, and gave his countenance against his name, to laugh at gibing boys and stand the push of every beardless vain comparative, grew a companion to the common streets, enfeoffed himself to popularity, that being daily swallowed by men's eyes, they surfeited with honey, and began to loathe the taste of sweetness, whereof a little more than a little is by much too much. So when he had occasion to be seen, he was but as the cuckoo is in June, heard, not regarded. Seen, but with such eyes as, sick and blunted with community, afford no extraordinary gaze, such as is bent on sun-like majesty when it shines seldom in admiring eyes, but rather drowsed and hung their eyelids down, slept in his face and rendered such aspect as cloudy men used to their adversaries, being with his presence glutted, gouged, and full. And in that very line, Harry, standest thou, for thou hast lost thy princely privilege with vile participation. Not an eye but is aweary of thy common sight, save mine, which hath desired to see thee more, which now doth that I would not have it do, make blind itself with foolish tenderness. I shall hereafter, my thrice gracious Lord, be more myself, for all the world as thou art to this hour was Richard then when I from France set foot at Ravensburg, and even as I was then is Percy now. Now, by my sceptre and my soul to boot, he hath more worthy interest to the state than thou the shadow of succession. For of no right, nor colour like to right, he doth fill fields with harness in the realm, turns head against the lion's armed jaws, and, being no more in debt to years than thou, leads ancient lords and reverend bishops on to bloody battles, and to bruising arms. What never-dying honour hath he got against renowned Douglas, whose high deeds, whose hot incursions and great name in arms, holds from all soldiers chief majority and military title capital, through all the kingdoms that acknowledge Christ. Thrice hath this Hotspur, Mars in swaddling clothes, this infant warrior, in his enterprises discomfited great Douglas, ta'en him once, enlarged him and made a friend of him, to fill the mouth of deep defiance up and shake the peace and safety of our throne. And what say you to this? Percy, Northumberland, the Archbishop's Grace of York, Douglas, Mortimer, capitulate against us and are up. But wherefore do I tell these news to thee? Why, Harry, do I tell thee of my foes, which art my nearest and dearest enemy, thou that art like enough, through vassal fear, base inclination, and the start of spleen, to fight against me under Percy's pay, to dog his heels and curtsy at his frowns, to show how much thou art degenerate. Do not think so, you shall not find it so. And God forgive them that so much have swayed your majesty's good thoughts away from me. I will redeem all this on Percy's head, and in the closing of some glorious day, be bold to tell you that I am your son, when I will wear a garment all of blood and stain my favours in a bloody mask, which, washed away, shall scour my shame with it, and that shall be the day, whene'er it lights, that this same child of honour and renown, this gallant Hotspur, this all-praised knight, and your unthought of Harry chance to meet. For every honour sitting on his helm, would they were multitudes, and on my head my shames redoubled. For the time will come, that I shall make this northern youth exchange his glorious deeds for my indignities. Percy is but my factor, good my lord, to engross up glorious deeds on my behalf, and I will call him to so strict account, that he shall render every glory up, yea, even the slightest worship of his time, or I will tear the reckoning from his heart. This, in the name of God, I promise here, the which if he be pleased I shall perform. I do beseech your majesty may salve the long-grown wounds of my intemperance. If not, the end of life cancels all bands, and I will die 100,000 deaths ere break the smallest parcel of this vow. 100,000 rebels die in this, thou shalt have charge and sovereign trust herein. So hath the business that I come to speak of. Lord Mortimer of Scotland hath sent word that Douglas and the English rebels met the 11th of this month at Shrewsbury. A mighty and a fearful head they are, if promises be kept on every hand, as ever offered foul play in the state. The Earl of Westmoreland set forth today, with him my son, Lord John of Lancaster. For this advertisement is 5 days old. On Wednesday next, Harry, you shall set forward. On Thursday we ourselves will march. Our meeting is Bridgenorth, and Harry, you shall march through Gloucestershire. By which account, our business valued, some 12 days hence our general forces at Bridgenorth shall meet. Our hands are full of business, let's away. Advantage feeds him fat while men delay. Exeunt. Scene Roman 3 East Cheap. The Boar's Head Tavern. Go bear this letter to Lord John of Lancaster, to my brother John, this to my Lord of Westmoreland. Exit Bardolph. Go, Peto, to hoss, for thou and I have 30 miles to ride yet ere dinner time. Exit Peto. Jack, meet me tomorrow in the Temple Hall at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There shalt thou know thy charge, and there receive money and order for their furniture. The land is burning, Percy stands on high, and either we or they must low a lie. Exit Prince Henry. Rare words, brave world, hostess my breakfast come, oh, I could wish this tavern were my drum. Exit. Act Roman 4 Scene either rebel camp near Shrewsbury. Well said, my noble Scot. If speaking truth in this fine age were not thought flattery, such attribution should the Douglas have, as not a soldier of this season's stamp should go so general current through the world. By God, I cannot flatter. I do defy the tongues of soothers, but a braver place in my heart's love hath no man than yourself. Nay, task me to my word. Approve me, Laud. Thou art the king of honour. No man so potent breathes upon the ground but I will be at him. Zounds, how has he the leisure to be sick in such a rustling time? Who leads his power? Under whose government come they along? He did, my lord, 4 days ere I set forth, and at the time of my departure thence he was much feared by his physicians. I would the state of time had first been whole, ere he by sickness had been visited. His health was never better worth than now. Sick now? droop now. This sickness doth infect the very lifeblood of our enterprise. 'Tis catching hither, even to our camp. He writes me here, that inward sickness, and that his friends by deputation could not so soon be drawn, nor did he think it meet to lay so dangerous and dear a trust on any soul removed but on his own. Yet doth he give us bold advertisement, that with our small conjunction we should on, to see how fortune is disposed to us. For as he writes, there is no quailing now, because the king is certainly possessed of all our purposes. What say you to it? A perilous gash, a very limb lopped off. And yet, in faith, it is not. His present want seems more than we shall find it. Were it good to set the exact wealth of all our states all at one cost, to set so rich a main on the nice hazard of one doubtful hour? It were not good. For therein should we read the very bottom and the soul of hope, the very list, the very utmost bound of all our fortunes. Faith, and so we should, where now remains a sweet reversion, we may boldly spend upon the hope of what is to come in. A comfort of retirement lives in this. A rendezvous, a home to fly unto, if that the devil and mischance look big upon the maidenhead of our affairs. But yet I would your father had been here. The quality and hair of our attempt brooks no division. It will be thought by some, that know not why he is away, that wisdom, loyalty, and mere dislike of our proceedings kept the earl from hence. And think how such an apprehension may turn the tide of fearful faction, and breed a kind of question in our cause. For well you know we of the offering side must keep aloof from strict arbitrament, and stop all sight-holes, every loop from whence the eye of reason may pry in upon us. This absence of your father's draws a curtain, that shows the ignorant a kind of fear before not dreamt of. You strain too far. I rather of his absence make this use. It lends a lustre and more great opinion, a larger dare to our great enterprise, than if the earl were here. For men must think, if we without his help can make a head to push against a kingdom, with his help we shall alternate topsy-turvy down. Yet all goes well, yet all our joints are whole. As Hot can think, there is not such a word spoke of in Scotland as this term of fear. Pray God my news be worth a welcome, laud. The Earl of Westmoreland, 7,000 strong, is marching hitherwards, with him Prince John. And further, I have learned, the king himself in person is set forth, all hitherwards intended speedily, with strong and mighty preparation. He shall be welcome too. Where is his son, the nimble-footed madcap Prince of Wales, and his comrades that doffed the world aside and bid it pass? All furnished, all in arms, all plumed like estridges that with the wind baited like eagles having lately bathed, glittering in golden coats like images, as full of spirit as the month of May, and gorgeous as the sun at midsummer, wanton as youthful goats, wild as young bulls. I saw young Harry, with his beaver on, his cuisses on his thighs, gallantly armed, rise from the ground like feathered Mercury, and vaulted with such ease into his seat, as if an angel dropped down from the clouds, to turn and wind a fiery Pegasus and witch the world with noble horsemanship. No more, no more, worse than the sun in March, this praise doth nourish agues. Let them come, they come like sacrifices in their trim, and to the fire-eyed maid of smoky war all hot and bleeding will we offer them. The mailed Mars shall on his altar sit up to the ears in blood. I am on fire to hear this rich reprisal is so nigh and yet not ours. Come, let me taste my hoss, who is to bear me like a thunderbolt against the bosom of the Prince of Wales. Harry to Harry shall, hot hoss to hoss, meet and ne'er part till one drop down a coss. Oh, that Glendower were come! There is more news, I learned in Worcester as I rode along, he cannot draw his power this 14 days. 40 let it be, my father and Glendower being both away, the powers of us may serve so great a day. Come, let us take a muster speedily. Doomsday is near, die all, die merrily. Talk not of dying, I am out of fear of death or death's hand for this 1/2 year. Exeunt. Scene Roman 2, a public road near Coventry. Well, to the latter end of a fray and the beginning of a feast fits a dull fighter and a keen guest. Exeunt. Scene Roman 3, the rebel camp near Shrewsbury. You do not counsel well, you speak it out of fear and cold heart. Do me no slander, Douglas, by my life, and I dare well maintain it with my life. If well-respected honour bid me on, I hold as little counsel with weak fear as you, my lord, or any Scot that this day lives. Let it be seen tomorrow in the battle which of us fears. Come, come it may not be. I wonder much, being men of such great leading as you are, that you foresee not what impediments drag back our expedition. Certain hoss of my cousin Vernon's are not yet come up, your uncle Worcester's hoss came but today, and now their pride and mettle is asleep, their courage with hard labour tame and dull, that not a hoss is half the half of himself. So are the hosses of the enemy in general, journey-baited and brought low. the better part of ours are full of rest. The number of the king exceedeth ours. For God's sake, cousin, stay till all come in. The trumpet sounds a parley. I come with gracious offers from the king, if you vouchsafe me hearing and respect. Welcome, Sir Walter Blunt, and would to God you were of our determination. Some of us love you well, and even though some envy your great deservings and good name, because you are not of our quality, but stand against us like an enemy. And God defend, but still I should stand so long as out of limit and true rule, you stand against anointed majesty. But to my charge, the king hath sent to know the nature of your griefs, and whereupon you conjure from the breast of civil peace such bold hostility, teaching his duteous land audacious cruelty. If that the king have any way your good deserts forgot, which he confesseth to be manifold, he bids you name your griefs, and with all speed you shall have your desires with interest and pardon absolute for yourself, and these herein misled by your suggestion. The king is kind, and well we know the king knows at what time to promise, when to pay. My father and my uncle and myself did give him that same royalty he wears, and when he was not 26 strong, sick in the world's regard, wretched and low, a poor unminded outlaw sneaking home, my father gave him welcome to the Shah. And when he heard him swear and vow to God he came but to be Duke of Lancaster, to sue his livery and beg his peace, with tears of innocency and terms of zeal, my father, in kind heart and pity moved, swore him assistance and performed it too. Now, when the lords and barons of the realm perceived Northumberland did lane to him, the more and less came in with cap and knee, met him in boroughs, cities, villages, attended him on bridges, stood in lanes, laid gifts before him, proffered him their oaths, gave him their airs, as pages followed him even at the heels in golden multitudes. He presently, as greatness knows itself, steps me a little higher than his vow made to my father, while his blood was poor, upon the naked shore at Ravensburg. And now, forsooth, takes on him to reform some certain edicts and some strait decrees that lie too heavy on the commonwealth, cries out upon abuses, seems to weep over his country's wrongs. And by this face, this seeming brow of justice, did he win the hearts of all that he did angle for, proceeded further, cut me off the heads of all the favourites that the absent king in deputation left behind him here, when he was personal in the Irish war. Then to the point. In short time after, he deposed the king, soon after that deprived him of his life, and in the neck of that, tasked the whole state, to make that worse, suffered his kinsman March, who is, if every owner were well placed, indeed his king, to be engaged in Wales, there without ransom to lie forfeited, disgraced me in my happy victories, sought to entrap me by intelligence, rated mine uncle from the council bod, in rage dismissed my father from the cot, broke oath on oath, committed wrong on wrong, and in conclusion drove us to seek out this head of safety, and withal to pry into his title, the which we find too indirect for long continuance. Not so, Sir Walter, we'll withdraw a while. Go to the king, and let there be upon some surety for a safe return again, and in the morning early shall my uncle bring him our purposes, and so farewell. Scene Roman Fa York. The Archbishop's Palace. Hi, good Sir Michael, bear this sealed brief with winged haste to the Lord Marshal, this to my cousin Scroop, and all the rest to whom they are directed. If you knew how much they do to impart, you would make haste. My good lord, I guess their tenor, like enough you do. Tomorrow, good Sir Michael, is a day wherein the fortune of 10,000 men must bide the touch. For, sir, at Shrewsbury, as I am truly given to understand, the king with mighty and quick-raised power meets with Lord Harry. And I fear, Sir Michael, what with the sickness of Northumberland, whose power was in the first proportion, and what with Owen Glendower's absence thence, who with them was a rated sinew too and comes not in, or ruled by prophecies, I fear the power of Percy is too weak to wage an instant trial with the king. Why, my good lord, you need not fear. There is Douglas and Lord Mortimer. But there is Maudache, Vernon, Lord Harry Percy, and there is my Lord of Worcester and a head of gallant warriors, noble gentlemen, and so there is. But yet the king hath drawn the special head of all the land together, the Prince of Wales, Lord John of Lancaster, the noble Westmoreland and warlike Blunt, and many mo co-rivals and dear men of estimation and command in arms. I hope no less, yet needful 'tis to fear, and to prevent the worst, Sir Michael, speed, for if Lord Percy thrive not, ere the king dismiss his power, he means to visit us, for he hath heard of our confederacy, and 'tis but wisdom to make strong against him, therefore make haste. I must go right again to other friends, and so farewell, Sir Michael. Exeunt. Act V. Scene I. The king's camp near Shrewsbury. How bloodily the sun begins to peer above yon busky hill. The day looks pale at his distemperature. The southern wind doth play the trumpet to his purposes, and by his hollow whistling in the leaves foretells a tempest and a blustering day. Then with the losers let it sympathize, for nothing can seem foul to those that win. The trumpet sounds. How now, my lord of Worcester? 'Tis not well that you and I should meet upon such terms as now we meet. You have deceived our trust, and made us doff our easy robes of peace, to crush our old limbs in ungentle steel. This is not well, my lord, this is not well. What say you to it? Will you again unknit this curlish knot of olive hard war, and move in that obedient orb again where you did give a fair and natural light, and be no more an exhaled meteor, a prodigy of fear and a portent of broached mischief to the unborn times? Hear me, my liege, for mine own part, I could be well content to entertain the lag end of my life with quiet hours, for I do protest, I have not sought the day of this dislike. It pleased your majesty to turn your looks of favour from myself and all our house. And yet I must remember you, my lord, we were the first and dearest of your friends. For you, my staff of office, did I break in Richard's time, and posted day and night to meet you on the way, and kiss your hand, when yet you were in place and in account nothing so strong and fortunate as I. It was myself, my brother and his son, that brought you home and boldly did outdare the dangers of the time. You swore to us, and you did swear that oath at Doncaster, that you did nothing purpose gainst the state, nor claim no further than your new-fallen right, the seat of Gaunt, dukedom of Lancaster. To this we swore our aid. But in short space it rained down fortune showering on your head, and such a flood of greatness fell on you. What with our help? What with the absent king? What with the injuries of a wanton time, the seeming sufferances that you had borne, and the contrarious winds that held the king so long in his unlucky Irish wars that all in England did repute him dead? And from this swarm of fair advantages, you took occasion to be quickly wooed to gripe the general sway into your hand. Forget your oath to us at Doncaster, and being fed by us, you used us so as that ungentle gull, the cuckoo's bird, useth the sparrow, did oppress our nest, grew by our feeding to so great a bulk that even our love durst not come near your sight for fear of swallowing. But with nimble wing we were enforced, for safety's sake, to fly out of sight and raise this present head, whereby we stand opposed by such means as you yourself have forged against yourself by unkind usage, dangerous countenance, and violation of all faith and troth sworn to us in your younger enterprise. These things indeed you have articulate, proclaimed at market crosses, read in churches, to face the garment of rebellion with some fine colour that may please the eye of fickle changelings and poor discontents, which gape and rub the elbow at the news of hurlyburly innovation, and never yet did insurrection want such watercolours to impaint his cause, nor moody beggars, starving for a time of pell-mell havoc and confusion. In both your armies there is many a soul shall pay full dearly for this encounter, if once they join in trial. Tell your nephew, the Prince of Wales doth join with all the world in praise of Henry Percy. By my hopes, this present enterprise set off his head. I do not think a braver gentleman, more active valiant or more valiant young, more daring or more bold, is now alive to grace this latter age with noble deeds. For my part, I may speak it to my shame, I have a truant been to chivalry, and so I hear he doth account me too, yet this before my father's majesty. I am content that he shall take the odds of his great name and estimation, and will, to save the blood on either side, try fortune with him in a single fight. And, Prince of Wales, so dare we venture thee, albeit considerations infinite do make against it. No, good Worcester, no, we love our people well, even those we love that are misled upon your cousin's pot, and will they take the offer of our grace, both he and they and you? Yea, every man shall be my friend again, and I'll be his, so tell your cousin, and bring me word what he will do. But if he will not yield, rebuke and dread correction wait on us, and they shall do their office. So, be gone, we will not now be troubled with reply, we offer fair, take it advisedly. Exeunt Worcester and Vernon. It will not be accepted. On my life, the Douglas and the Hotspur both together are confident against the world in arms. Hence, therefore, every leader to his charge, for on their answer will we set on them, and God befriend us as our cause is just. Exeunt all but the Prince of Wales and Falstaff. Scene room into the rebel camp. Oh no, my nephew must not know, Sir Richard, the liberal and kind offer of the king. Then are we all undone. It is not possible, it cannot be. The king should keep his word in loving us. He will suspect us still and find a time to punish this offence in other faults. Suspicion all our lives shall be stuck full of eyes. For treason is but trusted like the fox, who, ne'er so tame, so cherished and locked up, will have a wild trick of his ancestors. Look how we can, aw sad, aw merrily, interpretation will misquote our looks, and we shall feed like oxen at a stall, the better cherished, still the nearer death. My nephew's trespass may be well forgot. It hath the excuse of youth and heat of blood, and an adopted name of privilege, a hair-brained Hotspur, governed by a spleen. All his offences live upon my head and on his father's. We did train him on, and his corruption being tanned from us, we, as the spring of all, shall pay for all. Therefore, good cousin, let not Harry know, in any case, the offer of the king. Deliver what you will, I'll say 'tis so. Here comes your cousin. My uncle is returned, deliver up my lord of Westmoreland. Uncle, what news? I told him gently of our grievances of his oath-breaking, which he mended thus, by now forswearing that he is forsworn. He calls us rebels, traitors, and will scourge with haughty arms this hateful name in us. Gentlemen, to arms, for I have thrown a brave defiance in King Henry's teeth, and Westmoreland, that was engaged, did bear it, which cannot choose but bring him quickly on. The Prince of Wales stepped forth before the king, and nephew, challenged you to single fight. Oh, would the quarrel lay upon our heads, and that no man might draw shot breath today but I and Harry Monmouth. Tell me, how showed his tasking? Seemed it in contempt? No, by my soul. I never in my life did hear a challenge urged more modestly, unless a brother should a brother dare to gentle exercise and proof of arms. He gave you all the duties of a man, trimmed up your praises with a princely tongue, spoke to your deservings like a chronicle, making you ever better than his praise by still dispraising praise valued in you, and which became him like a prince indeed, he made a blushing cittle of himself, and chid his truant youth with such a grace as if he mastered there a double spirit of teaching and of learning instantly. There did he pause, but let me tell the world, if he outlived the envy of this day, England did never owe so sweet a hope, so much misconstrued in his wantonness. Cousin, I think thou art enamored on his follies. Never did I hear of any prince so wild a libertine. But be he as he will, yet once ere night I will embrace him with a soldier's arm, that he shall shrink under my courtesy. Arm with speed. And, fellows, soldiers, friends, better consider what you have to do than I, that have not well the gift of tongue, can lift your blood up with persuasion. I cannot read them now. O gentlemen, the time of life is short. To spend that shortness basely were too long, if life did ride upon a dial's point, still ending at the arrival of an hour. And if we live to tread on kings, if die, brave death when princes die with us. Now, for our consciences, the arms are fair, when the intent of bearing them is just. I thank him that he cuts me from my tale, for I profess not talking. Only this, let each man do his best, and here draw I a sword, whose temper I intend to stain with the best blood that I can meet withal in the adventure of this perilous day. Now, Esperance, Percy, and set on. Sound all the lofty instruments of war, and by that music let us all embrace. For heaven to earth, some of us never shall a second time do such a courtesy. The trumpets sound, they embrace and exunt. Scene Roman 3 plain between the camps. What is thy name, that in the battle thus thou crossest me? What honour dost thou seek upon my head? Know then, my name is Douglas, and I do haunt thee in the battle thus because some tell me that thou art a king. The Lord of Stafford dear today hath bought thy likeness, for instead of thee, King Harry, this sword hath ended him. So shall it thee, unless thou yield thee as my prisoner. I was not born a yielder, thou proud Scot, and thou shalt find a king that will revenge Lord Stafford's death. They fight. Douglas kills Blunt. O Douglas, hadst thou fought at home done thus, I never had triumphed upon a Scot. This Douglas? No, I know this face full well. A gallant knight he was, his name was Blunt, semblably furnished like the king himself. A fool go with thy soul, whither it goes. A borrowed title haste thou bought too dear. Why didst thou tell me that thou wert a king? Now, by my sod, I will kill all his coats, I'll murder all his wardrobe, piece by piece, until I meet the king. Up and away, our soldiers stand full fairly for the day. Exeunt. What, standst thou idle here? Lend me thy sword. Many a nobleman lies stark and stiff under the hoofs of vaunting enemies, whose deaths are yet unrevenged. I prithee, lend me thy sword. Scene Roman for another part of the field. I prithee, Harry, withdraw thyself, thou bleedst too much. Lord John of Lancaster, go you with him. I beseech your majesty, make up, lest your retirement do amaze your friends. I will do so. My lord of Westmoreland, lead him to his tent. Lead me, my lord? I do not need your help, and God forbid a shallow scratch should drive the Prince of Wales from such a field as this, where stained nobility lies trodden on, and rebels' arms triumph in massacres. We breathe too long. Come, cousin Westmoreland, our duty this way lies. For God's sake come. Exeunt Prince John and Westmoreland. By God, thou hast deceived me, Lancaster. I did not think thee laud of such a spirit. Before, I loved thee as a brother, John, but now I do respect thee as my soul. I saw him hold Lord Percy at the point with lustier maintenance than I did look for of such an ungrown warrior. Oh, this boy lends mettle to us all? Exit. Another king? They grow like Hydra's heads. I am the Douglas, fatal to all those that wear those colours on them. What art thou that counterfeits the person of a king? The king himself, who, Douglas, grieves at heart so many of his shadows thou hast met, and not the very king. I have 2 boys seek Percy and thyself about the field, but seeing thou fall'st on me so luckily, I will assay thee. So defend thyself. I fear thou art another counterfeit, and yet in faith thou bear'st thee like a king, but mine I am sure thou art. Woe thou be, and thus I win thee. They fight, the king being in danger, re-enter Prince of Wales. Hold up thy head, vile Scot, or thou art like never to hold it up again. The spirits of valiant Shirley, Stafford, Blunt are in my arms. It is the Prince of Wales that threatens thee, who never promiseth but he means to pay. They fight, Douglas flies. Cheerly, my lord, how fares your grace? Sir Nicholas Gauzy hath for succour sent, and so hath Clifton. I'll to Clifton straight. Stay, and breathe a while. Thou hast redeemed thy lost opinion, and showed thou makest some tender of my life. In this fair rescue thou hast brought to me. O God, they did me too much injury that ever said I hearkened for your death. If it were so, I might have let alone the insulting hand of Douglas over you, which would have been as speedy in your end as all the poisonous potions in the world, and saved the treacherous labor of your son. Why, then I see a very valiant rebel of the name. I am the Prince of Wales, and think not, Percy, to share with me in glory any more. 2 stars keep not their motion in one sphere, nor can one England brook a double reign of Harry Percy and the Prince of Wales. Nor shall it, Harry, for the hour is come to end the one of us, and would to God thy name in arms were now as great as mine. I'll make it greater ere I part from thee, and all the budding honours on thy crest I'll crop, to make a garland for my head. Oh, Harry, thou hast robbed me of my youth. I better brook the loss of brittle life than those proud titles thou hast won of me. They wound my thoughts worse than sod my flesh. But thought's the slave of life, and life time's fool, and time, that takes survey of all the world, must have a stop. Oh, I could prophesy, but that the earthy and cold hand of death lies on my tongue. No, Percy, thou art dust and food for dyes, for worms. Brave Percy, fare thee well, great heart. Ill-weaved ambition, how much art thou shrunk, when that this body did contain a spirit, a kingdom, for it was too small a bound. But now 2 paces of the vilest earth is room enough. This earth that bears thee dead bears not alive so stout a gentleman. If thou wert sensible of courtesy, I should not make so dear a show of zeal, but let my favours hide thy mangled face, and even in thy behalf, I'll thank myself for doing these fair rites of tenderness. Adieu, and take thy praise with thee to heaven. Thy ignominy sleep with thee in the grave, but not remembered in thy epitaph. He spieth Falstaff on the ground. What, old acquaintance? Could not all this flesh keep in a little life? Poor Jack, farewell. I could have better spared a better man. Oh, I should have a heavy miss of thee if I were much in love with vanity. Death hath not struck so fat a deer today, though many dearer. In this bloody fray, embowelled will I see thee by and by, till then in blood by noble Percy lie. Exit. Come, brother John, full bravely haste thou fleshed thy maiden sod. But soft, whom have we here? Did you not tell me this fat man was dead? I did. I saw him dead, breathless and bleeding on the ground. Art thou alive? Or is it fantasy that plays upon our eyesight? I prithee speak, we will not trust our eyes without our ears. Thou art not what thou seemst. This is the strangest fellow, brother John. Come, bring your luggage nobly on your back. For my part, if a lie may do thee grace, I'll gild it with the happiest terms I have. A retreat is sounded. The trumpet sounds retreat, the day is ours. Come, brother, let us to the highest of the field, to see what friends are living, who are dead. Exeunt Prince of Wales and Lancaster. Scene V. Another part of the field. Thus ever did rebellion find rebuke. Ill-spirited Worcester, did not we send grace, pardon, and terms of love to all of you? And wouldst thou turn our offers contrary? Misuse the tenor of thy kinsman's trust. 3 knights upon our party slain today, a noble earl and many a creature else had been alive this hour, if like a Christian thou hadst truly bond betwixt our armies true intelligence. What I have done my safety urged me to, and I embraced this fortune patiently, since not to be avoided it falls on me. Bear Worcester to the death, and Vernon too. Other offenders we will pause upon. Exeunt Worcester and Vernon, guarded. How goes the field? The noble Scot, Lord Douglas, when he saw the fortune of the day, quite turned from him, the noble Percy slain, and all his men upon the foot of fear, fled with the rest. and falling from a hill, he was so bruised that the pursuers took him. At my tent the Douglas is, and I beseech your grace I may dispose of him. Then, brother John of Lancaster, to you this honorable bounty shall belong. Go to the Douglas, and deliver him up to his pleasure, ransomless and free. His valor shown upon our crests today hath taught us how to cherish such high deeds even in the bosom of our adversaries. I thank your grace for this high courtesy, which I shall give away immediately. Then this remains, that we divide our power. You, son John, and my cousin Westmoreland towards York shall bend you with your dearest speed to meet Northumberland and the prelate Scroop, who, as we hear, are busily in arms. Myself and you, son Harry, will towards Wales, to fight with Glendower and the Earl of March. Rebellion in this land shall lose his sway, meeting the check of such another day, and since this business so fair is done, let us not leave till all our own be won. Exeunt. Coloff and Henry Roman Faw. Patti was published in 1597 by William Shakespeare. This ebook was produced for Standard eBooks by Emma Sweeney, and is based on a transcription produced in 1993 by Jeremy Hilton for the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and on digital scans from the Hathai Trust Digital Library. The cover page is adapted from Esquisse pour l'Ancien Hôtel de Ville de Paris. Brissac, négociant Oppas des Échevins l'entrée de Henry Roman Faw dans Paris, a painting completed in 1827 by Jean-Baptiste Messier. The cover and title pages feature the League Spaten and Sots Mill Gaudi typefaces, created in 2014 and 2009 by the League of Movable Type. This edition was released on July 8, 2025, 6:53 p.m., and is based on Revision D5B9C61. The first edition of this ebook was released on June 29, 2021, 11:48 p.m. You can check for updates to this ebook, view its revision history, or download it for different e-reading systems at standardbooksorg/ebooks/William Shakespeare/Henry Roman Faw Patti. The volunteer-driven Standard eBooks project relies on readers like you to submit typos, corrections, and other improvements. Anyone can contribute at Standard Booksorg. Dramatis Personae King Henry IV Henry, Prince of Wales, son to the King John of Lancaster, son to the King Earl of Westmoreland Sir Walter Blunt Thomas Percy, Earl of Worcester Henry Percy, Earl of Northumberland Henry Percy, surnamed Hotspur, his son Edmund Mortimer, Earl of March Richard Scroop, Archbishop of York Archibald, Earl of Douglas Owen Glendower Sir Richard Vernon Sir John Falstaff Sir Michael, a friend to the Archbishop of York Poins Gadshill Pete O'Bardolph Lady Percy, wife to Hotspur, and sister to Mortimer Lady Mortimer, daughter to Glendower, and wife to Mortimer Mistress Quickly, hostess of a tavern in East Cheap Lords, officers, sheriff, vintner, chamberlain, draws, 2 carriers, travellers, and attendants seen. England, Henry Roman Faw Patti. Imprint. This ebook is the product of many hours of hard work by volunteers for Standard eBooks, and builds on the hard work of other literature lovers made possible by the public domain. This particular ebook is based on a transcription from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and on digital scans from the Hathai Trust Digital Library. The source text and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the United States public domain. That is, they are believed to be free of copyright restrictions in the United States. They may still be copyrighted in other countries, so users located outside of the United States must check their local laws before using this ebook. The creators of, and contributors to, this ebook dedicate their contributions to the worldwide public domain via the terms in the CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain Dedication. For full license information, see the uncopyright at the end of this ebook. Standard eBooks is a volunteer-driven project that produces ebook editions of public domain literature using modern typography, technology, and editorial standards, and distributes them free of cost. You can download this and other ebooks carefully produced for true book lovers at Standard Booksorg.